From the starting line
You look forward to it every year?
Dancing. The music is great.
to the finish.
You can show people that, look, anybody can do it, as long as you put your training in.
Runners will race 26.2 miles through all 4 Disney theme parks.
And there's a little boy waiting for this medal.
We watched a lot of movies just to make sure we could get in the spirit of the thing.
This is special live coverage of the 25th annual Walt Disney World Marathon.
Woo! Good morning, everyone. You are looking live here at the starting line. A crowd of more than 25,000 runners. Now, the first few corrals of participants, they just took off from the starting line in the last half hour. You can hear the fireworks there as I talk. Unbelievable morning out here. Very chilly, and over the next half hour, thousands more will take off. Good morning, Central Florida. I'm Jamie Holmes. It is 6 o'clock on this very chilly Sunday, January 7th.
Thanks for being with us. I'm Nancy Alvarez. You can feel the excitement and the cold. Have we mentioned that? Out here at Disney World this morning. Let's take a look at the start of the marathon just minutes ago.
3, 2, 1, go!
There you go. With that, the 25th anniversary Walt Disney World Marathon got underway. An unbelievable turnout. This is the largest destination race, the largest sporting event in all of Central Florida. 100,000 people come here for this event every single year. It's hard to believe that in 1994, when this started, there were only about 8,000 people. And now, people from all over the world flock to this race. It's the only race of its kind. You get to run through all 4 Disney parks.
It's amazing. 88 countries are represented. I actually met a woman from Ireland this week who said, oh, this weather's not so bad. It's just like home.
Oh, well, good. Terrific.
So.
All right, there's more people there at the starting line. You saw Brian Shields. He's chilly along with the rest of us. And it can back up as far as the eye can see there along Epcot Center Drive. People are out there in their costumes, their warm-up gear. The race started with 8 corrals of runners. Each corral is divided into mini waves that all go through the start chute. Now, every step is magic here on this 26.2 mile run through all the Disney parks. At mile 5, they go through Main Street in the Magic Kingdom. Then they hit Animal Kingdom on the 12th mile. Mile 23 takes them through Hollywood Studios, and then right back here to where we are at Epcot.
All right, and while we are cold because we're just sitting here talking about all this,
That's right.
It's actually really great weather for these athletes that are out here this morning. We do have our Brian Shields on hand tracking the runners in this cold. Brian.
Yeah, it is good running weather. All these athletes dressed in layers, and they're shedding them throughout the race. But these are pretty optimal temperatures. Now, they've been running the last few days, at least some of these runners have at Disney, and this is the warmest, so to speak, of the mornings. A lot of the temperatures in the 40s here, in the wind chills in the 30s, and you see the optimal running weather for a marathon, about 51 degrees. So it's not too far off of that. We're, again, in the 40s. Obviously, the shorter distance, the warmer weather you want to help keep your body heat in, keep your body heat up. But as they get through a couple miles, their body heat is going. So again, these temperatures, not a problem just at the start to keep warm. But again, Disney does everything great here. They give them these thermal wraps, so even if they don't have layers, they didn't dress in layers, they have these wraps to put on to help keep their body heat in. So all in all, while it is on the chilly side, this weather's pretty good. And again, you see these runners, lots in costumes, so that doesn't hurt as well, Jamie and Nancy. A lot of good and interesting looks out here at the Disney Marathon.
So there you go, 42 degrees, but the wind chill is about 35 degrees. I don't know if I need to tell you that.
No.
Let's take a live look for you at Cinderella Castle, all decked out with icicles, some of which may be real this morning. You can see the first wave of runners there passing through. There goes one now. Unbelievable morning. Now, the wheelchair racers, there's 30 of them as well this morning. We expect to see them come through here as well in the next couple of minutes.
You really get an idea of just how beautiful this is, this run. You know, can you imagine just running by and looking up and seeing the castle all lit up like that? There they go. The next stop for this group is Animal Kingdom. We should see runners get there in about 30 minutes. And if you're just joining us, we want to let you know we have cameras all along the way, so you're not going to miss a step. It's going to be awesome to be able to show you these runners and these groups as they get to each park. And when it comes to prepping for the Disney Marathon, no one and we mean no one, runs longer and harder and faster than the cast members who work behind the scenes here.
In fact, when the race is over, when the last person crosses the finish line, it's really only the beginning for all the crews that have to get this going again for next year's race.
In 1994, this was a race of only about 8,200 runners and spectators. Today, there's more than 100,000 people here, and planning for it takes every aspect of all 4 parks.
It's a 24/7 operation from the week before the race through the week after the race.
The numbers are staggering. There will be 2 million ounces of water for runners, another 117,000 bananas, even 14 miles of additional fencing.
We have hundreds, several hundred people that are involved in the planning process as well as on site. The guest experience is really the most important thing to us, along with safety, so we have to make sure we have all hands on deck.
Disney will hand out 100,000 medals. 125 photographers on site will take 1 million photos. All of this will require military-like planning, scheduling, even routing and rerouting through parks that are under major construction.
So it certainly has been a little different for us through the construction, but it's really important for us to maintain, again, that guest and safety experience. So as long as we can do that and we can still provide those great entertainment experiences, we'll keep running.
And that result has elevated the Disney Marathon to one of the premier destination races in the country. It is one of the largest sporting event weekends in the nation, and when it's all over, Disney staff will get ready to do it again.
We're already planning next year's marathon, and once this one wraps up, we'll start really diving into those weekly meetings on the next one.
So, you know what's incredible here is that I'm joined by Farron Kelly, the VP at Disney Sports. What's incredible is the land that we're lucky enough to have here at the Magic Kingdom and at Walt Disney World. And that allows you, even with so many of the parks essentially under construction in some way, you still got plenty of running room.
It's amazing. I mean, when you look at your major marathons in New York or Chicago or even Boston, you're integrating into the city. Here, Disney is the city unto itself.
Yeah.
And so it gives us that opportunity to not only, have the 26 miles within this environment, then they get to run through the theme parks, which that's a real differentiator for us. When you tell people, oh, we run races, and they go, oh, where do you run? You run through the Magic Kingdom. You run through Epcot. People go, oh my gosh, I have to run this race.
And Farron, this race is so much fun. This was the beginning of the fun run, right?
It really was.
But it shouldn't take away from the fact that this is a real race. This is a real big challenge. It's the real deal.
It is the real deal. We are a certified course. We are a Boston qualifier, and there's many people out there who will be qualifying for Boston today.
Right.
Which is awesome. But you're right. We actually started the entertainment marathon industry back in 1994. Up until then, it was the, hardcore, runner. And the thought of characters and bands and entertainment on the course was really born back then, and it's become an industry unto itself.
And it really helped open the door for so many people who may have never tried this, right?
And that's
really
what's great. I mean, people think about marathons. Sure.
Right.
And it's that security of, well, if it's at Disney, I know I can do it.
Yeah.
I know it'll be okay.
All right, Farron Kelly, Vice President of Disney Sports, you're going to be out here with us again. All right, we'll see next year. We'll see what the temperatures are like. All right, now one of the runners out here today is an Olympian and a longtime runner. His name is Jeff Galloway. He was at the expo last week, greeting runners, giving advice to other runners. His biggest piece of advice, he says, use that run, walk, run method. Roughly 40% of the runners that we're going to see today, they're going to use that method. Essentially, that's where the runners run a certain amount of time, and then, of course, you walk a little bit. For me, I'd walk a lot. Setting a timer to remind you when to walk and run also helps those runners, of course, to stay on their time.
The 30-second walk bestows the greatest amount of recovery from a run segment, and if you walk longer than that, you actually slow down in the latter stages of the race.
I mean, you want me to move the batteries out of the way?
So in some circumstances, this run-walk method here can basically shave 13 minutes or so from your finish time compared to someone who actually doesn't follow that method. And, that guy knows. He's really run these races. So Florida Hospital medical stations as well. They're located about every 2 miles along. They're marked with certain medical flags. So there's a lot of people out here this morning, and it's just going to be an incredible morning. Now, today's runners also receive a special one-of-a-kind 25th anniversary Walt Disney World commemorative finisher medal. We've got one of those. I only get to hold it. I have to give it back.
Yeah, you have to give it back. Still ahead, we look back at just how much the medals have changed over the last 25 years. And this race is all about Disney, and that means sporting the look of your favorite characters. Still ahead, we'll look at the creativity put into some of those outfits. Yeah, some of them you got to see to believe.
And a live look there at Cinderella's Castle. Our special live coverage of the 25th Annual Walt Disney World Marathon continues after the break.
The first stop through the parks takes them to the Magic Kingdom, which you're looking at live now. Main Street there. They travel around Cinderella's castle. The course, of course, all along the way filled with music, entertainment, and those Disney characters cheering the runners on along the way. And we have set up cameras in all of the parks so that you can get a front row seat to all of this from the warmth of your couch.
Right, this is we need that warmth. This is a very fun race, very cool. Many participants will stop to take pictures with those characters along the way, hopefully making the miles seem like they just fly by. That is our live camera inside of Animal Kingdom now. So again, the Magic Kingdom is mile 5 of this race. Animal Kingdom is mile 12. It's almost the halfway point. It's at 26.2, so mile 12 puts you almost at the halfway point. At this point, we're looking at 4 people in the front. We've got Nicholas Hilton, he's an American, Alison Roca Perez from Brazil, Vanilson Neves from Brazil, and then Fredison Costa, who is a Brazilian, but who recently moved to the Kissimmee area. And you're watching now as some of the wheelchair racers come through.
That's right. And we have our Raquel Asa at the starting line of the race. Raquel, everything has been very organized this morning and a lot of fun.
Absolutely, and very cold, but I can tell you the announcer, you got to give it kudos to them because they are trying to pump these people up. They just mentioned that these are some of the last runners. There's about 300 runners in this last section. They just made mention of that. This just gives you an idea of how large this race is. As you've been saying, and Jamie and Nancy the whole morning, more than 25,000 people are running this race. Now, we've seen some of people staying warm, just like this couple here sharing a blanket as they start on this race, which has been underway for the last hour now. And we should start to see, you mentioned some of those front runners cross that finish line in about an hour and 15 minutes or so. But I can tell you, we also spoke to 2 runners who are in this group running right now. They came from California, and this couple, these 2 women told me that they are wearing literally every piece of clothing that they came with.
I have a broken foot, so this is going to be a really interesting experience.
Wait, you said you have a broken foot?
I do. I have a broken right foot, and so I'm going to be walking most of it, and my goal is just to finish.
We will help her get across the line. Nobody gets left behind. Isn't that amazing? Don't you want to have a friend like that? Yeah, that couple, those 2 women from California told me they just had to run it. It's, as Jamie and Nancy, you've been saying the whole morning, this is an experience. So if you're going to run with a broken foot, this is definitely the race that you want to do it in. We're going to be heading over to join you in the finish line in just a couple minutes, Jamie and Nancy, so I'll send it back to you right now.
I don't know that I want to run with a broken foot in any race.
That is commitment.
Unbelievable.
Serious commitment there.
Speaking of commitment, you spoke to one of the 76 perfect runners, and this one in particular you talked to is a chemistry professor at UCF.
Yeah, this very elite group of people are referred to as perfects, and they have run in every single marathon all 25 years. Seth Elsheimer has run every year since 1994. Think about where you were in 94.
I don't want to.
Even when he was recovering from pneumonia. It's really like the stuff of legends out here for the marathon. He told me that year he got pneumonia, he was recovering, he had an IV bag in the car that he left in the car, and then he wrapped up the port in his arm before heading out to the starting line.
I mean, years ago, it was close by, so I did it. And then by the time I was at like about number 7 or so, I thought, I got a streak going here.
Yeah, he says one of his favorite spots to run through is Animal Kingdom because of the workers who come out to sing and dance with the runners, and he was a lot of fun to interview. He actually wore his original shirt from the very first race, so a lot of people were walking up to him at the expo, you know, cool shirt, man. And then he realized many of them weren't even born when he got that shirt.
So he ran a race with a port in his arm?
Yeah, he did. He wrapped it up, and he left the IV bag in the car, and he said he gave himself a little extra time that year. He allowed himself to walk and took it easy, but he did okay. It's amazing.
Wow, between him and the lady with the broken foot, I'm beginning to question myself. All right, speaking of incredible athletes, last year's winner was a former Brazilian. He now lives here in Orlando. Channel 9's Christian Brewy explains why Fredison Costa says this year may be a bit of a challenge for him.
This has become a familiar sight at the Walt Disney World Marathon. Fredison Costa has won the last 4 races and 6 of the last 7. But a win today at the age of 40 would pull him to within 1 win of fellow Brazilian Adriana Bastos, who has a record 8 Disney Marathon titles.
A diferença agora é que eu tenho mais experiência.
Costa said he feels at the top of his game right now. He feels more experienced and doesn't feel like he's losing any speed. To combat his age, Costa has been doing extra training at Disney's Wide World of Sports with legendary speed coach Brooks Johnson.
E tudo isso eu agradeço ao coach Brooks Johnson.
Costa told me he feels like he's gaining speed despite being 40. He said he's more experienced and thanked his coach for helping him find new ways to optimize his training. There will also be added pressure with this being the 25th anniversary race of the Walt Disney World Marathon. More than 25,000 runners are signed up, and Costa expects a tough race.
Muitos atletas bons vão estar participando.
Costa told me there's a lot of strong athletes from Brazil that have been trying to beat him for a while now, and he knows they're coming this year as well. But this is Costa's home race now. He moved to Kissimmee 4 years ago, and there's a saying his mom taught him as a child that he likes to use when he races at Disney.
Compromisso maior.
The saying goes, with this being my hometown, I welcome all guests. But this is my home, and I'm the boss. Christian Bruick, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
So Fredison Costa, unbelievable athlete, incredible. And I'm joined here by John Hughes, the race director. John, you've watched this race become such an event. I mean, in 1994, there were only about 8,000 people out here. Now you're going to have 100,000 people. And many of them are from places like Brazil, all over the world, a true destination race.
Yes, that's so true. In fact, yes, we've kind of have a Brazilian contingency for the last several years. It's been all Brazil. One for several years, Bastos, and now, as you said, Fredison. And what's great, though, is we have probably the best race we've had since the first 2 years, when we had even a lot more, actually, believe elite athletes. But this year was our biggest field since then of elite athletes. We have 4 of them running together right now at the 10-mile mark, all averaging a 5:19 per mile pace. A couple of Brazilians plus Nicholas Hilton, who's from Arizona.
And Fredison there as well in that pack. All right, this is the moment we've all been waiting here for this morning. We are minutes away, essentially, from having the first racer cross the finish line here at Epcot.
Yeah, the lead racer is at Epcot, not far from where we're standing right now, where we're sitting huddled up, cuddling together this morning. It's so exciting to be here at the finish line. And, you know, one of the best things about the Disney Marathon is just the wide range of people who participate, right? You have people who are just friends doing it for fun, and then you have the hardcore marathon runners. And a lot of those people are the ones participating in what's called the Dopey Challenge. These are the people who participated in the marathon, the half marathon, the 10K, and the 5K. About 2,800 runners accomplished that.
So we are waiting here for a winner to cross the finish line, but I got to tell you, this could almost be a photo finish at this point. We have 2 racers who are going neck and neck. We have Venelson Nieves of Brazil and Nicholas Hilton of America. Both of these racers are basically right next to each other, running this race neck and neck. We had a pack of 4 to start off. That pack has weaned out now to basically a pack of 2, but they've run this race so far in about 1 hour, 45 minutes, and 6 seconds.
At one point, there was talk that we could see some record breaking out here this morning. They were going so fast. It's such a quick pace, even in this cold. We've been talking about the chilly temperatures out here all morning with the wind chill. It's in the 30s. Cold for us, but it's been great running weather for them.
All right, looks like we're getting a lead runner that's going to be crossing through the finish line.
Here we go, and there's a shot of him
there. He is. It's our lead racer here now. Yeah, just minutes away here, coming up to the finish line. We expect him to cross the finish line at about 7:49, according to the app, so about a minute or so away. You can see him crossing through. We essentially are on the outskirts of Epcot, so he's actually running through the park. He will cross the finish line on the outside of Epcot. You can use your ball there. See the ball as a reference point on the outside of Epcot.
Crowds are starting to form where we are here at the finish line. Our desk here is just a few feet away from Goofy and Mickey and the rest of the gang. Raquel is out there as well to welcome the first runners as they cross the finish line. Let's head out to her. Raquel.
Yeah, I can tell you guys, I'm going to stay off camera right now because I really want you to see this photo finish right now. In the distance, you can see some of our wheelchair athletes still coming through that finish line, but we are waiting for one of those two men to cross the finish line right now. And from what we've been told, we've been here for the last several days, you will know when this winner crosses the finish line because, like, it is a wave of sound coming to cross the finish line. Congrats to this guy right here for finishing the race in an unofficial time of 2 hours and 16 minutes. But we are waiting for either Vanlisson Neves from Brazil or Nicholas Hilton, Jamie and Nancy, as you mentioned, to cross this finish line. And this would be a big photo finish considering for the last couple of years or so, Brazilians have really had a stronghold on winning this race. So it'll be interesting to see whether Brazil can hold on to that title or whether Nicholas Hilton from the United States can really hold on, get this title for the 25th anniversary of the Disney Marathon. It looks like we are waiting. Can't really see him here from our vantage point, but there we go. If you look really close in the distance, look really far in the distance, not sure who that is, but they're booking it, and they are crossing the finish line just a couple seconds here. So let's listen in as this racer finishes.
Unbelievable finish, unbelievable.
There's the confetti, the big smiles, the excitement, and the handshakes, and of course all those photos now, the photo ops that will come.
That is Nicholas Hilton. His time, 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 52 seconds. He basically at about 5 minutes and 16 seconds per mile.
That's right.
Unbelievable. Now, I got to say this. Nicholas Hilton is from the United States, and that is the first time, I believe, that we've had a winner from the U.S. in about 13 years.
88 countries represented this morning among the runners in this race. Look at that big smile, and an American came in first.